And speaking of Rusev and even Roman Reigns in the mixed tag match that we had later that night, Sasha Banks and the women's champion Sasha Banks, U.S. champion Roman Reigns defeated Charlotte and Rusev. An interesting combo in Charlotte and Rusev, seeing two very focused, athletic competitors team up against two very prominent baby faces right now. I thought that it was really great to see the amount of tenacity that Sasha Banks had for just always wanting to be in the ring, tearing away at Charlotte, and how Rusev really felt like he had to be patient. He was really put in a corner and forced to comply. And I don't think that bothered Roman Reigns as much as it did for Rusev.
I don't think so, no.
Not a lot of things bother Roman Reigns, it seems. He's the kind of guy that just kind of shrugs things off and lets it roll off his shoulders. He's definitely taken his fair share of abuse from not only the WWE universe, but from the athletes in the WWE. So I feel like he doesn't have as much of a chip on his shoulder as one would perceive that he might have used to have. I think as a champion, he's settling into this role very well. He looked as much of a champion next to the WWE Women's Champion, Sasha Banks, and to see that match come together and see how they would approach that and the fluidity that they had as a team, I think that absolutely got them the win over Charlotte and Rusev. That was really great to see, and Lana doing her best to make sure that it didn't go that way.
Absolutely. I mean, Roman Reigns right now, I'm more focused on Rusev because it feels like Roman Reigns is in the driver's seat. Because if you really think about this feud has been going on for maybe 2-3 months at this point between the Big Dog and the Bulgarian Brute over the U.S. Championship, and Roman Reigns more often than not has got the upper hand over Rusev. Rusev is really the one who has something to prove. He's 0-2, I believe, against Roman Reigns. He beat him on the Raw before SummerSlam, of course, the Clash of Champions, the third and final match inside Hell in a Cell in Boston in a few more weeks. So I feel like it's do or die time for Roman Reigns, or rather for Rusev. If he can't beat Roman Reigns inside the cell, he's done. Where does Rusev go beyond that pay-per-view? He's been obsessed with the United States Championship for so long. That's, dating back to when he was feuding with John Cena a year or 2 years ago. So really, if he can't get the job done in Boston, where does he go beyond Hell in a Cell? Which is my primary question right now.
That's a very good point, because of the other blockbuster announcement that we have, when we were also addressed by the advocate for the Beast Incarnate, Paul Heyman, who had a challenge for Goldberg after Goldberg had appeared on ESPN off the top rope with the coach. And it is going back to Rusev before we dive into that. If he proves to fail again against Roman Reigns and chooses to use that as fuel to go after, say, the Universal Championship, he is definitely in line with the people that are currently going after that same championship. There is not as long of a line at the U.S. For the U.S. title right now. Roman Reigns has that pretty well locked down. So does Rusev continue to fight windmills and go up against a wall, or does he stand in line? And it just doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy to wait. He has been saying for months that he is the whole show, that he is the top superstar on Raw. What will we see between them? Will we see a dream match of mine down the line would be to see someone like Rusev take on competitors like Braun Strowman, take on competitors like Brock Lesnar, just to see true heavyweights fight true heavyweights. That's something I've always been interested in, and seeing how those types of matches will come up, because it is just primal competition between them. There's no heat needs to be added to that, no arrogance. Lana doesn't have to play any more of a role than just being a general manager for Rusev and just a support role for Rusev. So that would be interesting to see Rusev take a different focus, although I think the path to him becoming a Universal Champion on Raw is definitely a winding and a path with a lot of roadblocks in it.
I mean, there's a lot of people in that picture right now. I could definitely see that down the line. I would love to see the interesting matches of him against... We've seen him against Rollins before, but not in that capacity a few weeks ago. Him and Kevin Owens, him and Chris Jericho. There's a lot of people fighting for that Universal Championship right now with Y2J, Rollins, correct, Owens. But Rusev would be right in that picture. He would not feel out of place whatsoever. He's been here in the company for 2.5 years at this point. He has proven his worth, that he can go on that level. And I could certainly see him as a threat to the Universal Championship probably down the line. Maybe even sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.